Tier 1 trauma, ETA, 6 minutes.
And so it begins.
Looking back, what scene of yours from season 1 should your character be known for?
If I was going to pick one, I would say it's the scene where Whitaker comes in and finds Robbie on the floor. Him reluctant to accept help up, him allowing himself to be lifted to his feet by this junior doctor, and then the instinct I had when we shot it to immediately push him off of me. I thought that spoke volumes about the character to me. But I could drop in on an episode from ER I shot 25 years ago and remember how it felt to shoot it. I have a weird sense memory for those things that once you create the cellular, emotional, alchemy to do it, it's easy to revisit for me.
I think it's obviously when Dana goes like screaming into the waiting room, breaking up the fight of the two moms. For me, that was just like kind of her at a pinnacle moment. And it's kind of a fun scene. Everyone talks about the punch. I think people talk about that, but I don't know that defines her. But I do think it was that episode where she breaks up the fight and she helps Javati with Mateo. And, it's all these different things that she's doing. It's so Pittsburgh. It's so rough and tumble.
Huh? This ain't Philly?
People probably remember me getting fired in the locker scene with Robbie the most, but that's sort of me at my worst, really. So I would like to be remembered for something better than that. I would like to be remembered for, just talking with Garcia in the first couple episodes, or being sassy with the anti-vax lady after the hockey fight. I would like to be remembered for that, but I think people probably remember me for my bad behavior.
I'm sorry, it won't happen again.
I think the sickle cell for Samira, the sickle cell patient, because I think it's just such a great representation of cross-racial solidarity in a way that we don't usually see on TV. I think sometimes there's this weird thing where people pit minorities against each other or don't really know why they do that.
Very much, yeah.
And I just think it's really great to have a South Asian woman stand up for a sickle cell patient in that way. I would really hope that's something people remember about her.
Again, I'm so sorry about how you were treated when you first arrived.
I think Mel has a unique approach to a lot of things and how her empathy is shown. A mix between the little sister of the girl who drowned as well as the caretaker, Rita, of her mom. I think the combination between those two would probably be best of, the highly empathetic Mel.
I don't know, it just takes a different approach.
Oftentimes when people come up to me, it's really the arrest and just how difficult and humiliating and resilient, McKay was during that. Yeah, I think that is probably my sense of the heavy hitter.
What do they want to ask you about that scene?
I think people are really curious what exactly happened to get the ankle bracelet on. And of course I know, but it's left a little bit to the imagination, I think for good reason.
It was beeping and giving an error message.
I mean, the one people talk about the most is, I'm free Sunday.
I'm free Sunday.
And the Human Utah monologue I do at Dana about Mateo. I sort of ask him out and then go, I know I did that. And then I run away and then monologue about how he gives me altitude sickness.
Mateo's like a human Utah.
And I think those are the two scenes that people talk to me about the most because I think that visceral cringe is so powerful and it makes people want to crawl out of their skin. They're my Steve Carell in The Office moments. That's my Michael Scott moments.
Does it surprise you that they want to mention those two scenes or is it something you expect?
No, because also I remember shooting them and I remember the camera operator not being able to look at me afterwards. For I actually just can't, I'm sorry.
You asking him out?
No, what? No. It's just that I'm new here, so.
But I also think there is something really interesting about being this sort of a version of the comedic relief in season 1 of and I think that sort of shifts a bit for her in season 2, which I'm really excited by. I think that's the joy of being in an ensemble is you can be the comedic relief one season and then have a really different role to play in the next.
No shortcuts here.
Known for.
One of the fluids for you?
Oh yeah, I mean it's gonna be, isn't it? I was thinking this is one of the fluids, let's be honest. For me, I mean, it is kind of a funny moment, but the rat moment. Yeah. The rat moment I think is a nice time where Whitaker, I think for once maybe feels useful. On that day, people respond to it.
The bloodhound.
Yes, exactly. And maybe he's found more of a place within that environment.
Days are numbered, buddy.
I think for the kind of front she puts up, it would be so long or see you later, fellow losers.
Oh yeah.
So long, fellow losers.
That's
I'd
iconic.
say that's probably one, but for the more like vulnerable side that's underneath, I'd say in the end of the season when she's speaking with the man who was trying to end his life, I think that's really speaks to who she is deep down, and what she's good at as a doctor is like really getting to the core of the problem and seeing to what is actually going on with her patients.
There are people who can and want to help you.
What's something realistic about the medical field that's shown in the show that you were shocked to find out is real?
I think we've always sort of like intellectually understood the sort of the cost, the toll with the physician's mental health and nurses' mental health. But yeah, when you're inside of it, I think that's the sort of privilege that we hold as actors in general, is once you step inside of something, you can't see the same way anymore. Your worldview, your perspective is completely changed for the rest of your life. I already knew there's no way I could do this. I just don't have the skin for it. My skin's too thin to deal with what they deal with.
I'd hoped you would have reviewed my ideas for improving the department.
What I dig about the show is we go into like, when was the last time you had a snack?
Yeah, yeah.
When was the last time you went to the bathroom? Right. You know what I mean? These things that you just take for granted in life. But we explore the reality of a day, and it could be that mundane, but it's interesting because we know what that feels like.
Yeah.
I think I finally understand why I keep coming back now.
I think that the two things that now completely bug me watching anything else, any movie, and you see it constantly, is never shock asystole.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, is it so annoying to watch that now?
Yeah, they're like, it's flatline, let's shock it. You're like, no, it's supposed to have a rhythm.
Nope, that's Epi and CPR, bitch. And it's just like so not the right move, and it's astonishing how, and all I asked the doctors too, I went, are people correcting you all the time? And they're like, it's constant.
Asystole. Resume compressions.
And the other thing that I think our show does a good job with, because we can based on where we're shown, is you're naked on that gurney coming in off the ambulance. The level of vulnerability of not just injury, it's just like an extra huge, like, oh man, this must be a horrible, horrible day for that person.
I think the thing for me is like, is how much of the medical field is female and women. Like we I think realistically the healthcare field is 60% female
or
more. But it bugs me now when I watch other medical shows and I'm like, there should be
white guy,
more
white guy,
women.
white guy, white guy, white guy, white guy, white guy, white guy.
It's kind of frustrating to like see this like strange misrepresentation that's happening.
I also don't see male nurses on other things.
Yeah.
What's with that?
Leave it to the professionals.
This is going to make me sound like an actor and not a doctor when I reveal this about myself. When we did this procedure earlier, this episode 1, I believe it's called the clamshell, which is a double thoracotomy where you basically cut here and you cut here, and then you cut the breastbone and you pop the hood, as they say, giving you full exposure of the chest cavity. I'm always surprised that there's no blood in the chest cavity, that inside under your ribs, there's no blood in there. It's just your guts and your heart and all your organs are in there. But the blood is in all the vessels. It's in all the other stuff. It's not actually in there. So when you cut in there, it's not like it's going to be tons of blood coming out. Unless you cut one of those arteries that's part of your circulation system, it's a fairly bloodless procedure. So I was shocked at that.
And on that note, I'm gonna go check on Louie, and then I'm gonna get some air in the ambulance bay, so if anybody needs me, that's where I'll be.
I mean, I didn't know you could expose that much of a body. Like, your organs could be...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Episode 1, the clamshell. Like,
that's insane.
It's kind of like, does it need to open that wide?
Do we need to pop the hood?
See all that?
Yeah. No.
Everything is a surprise.
I think
for me,
seeing like the prosthetics and everything, and everyone being like, yeah, that's real, is when you see a body cut open, you're like, that is a thick layer to cut through. That is some thick matter. And I had surgery recently, and I was like, after that, I was like, oh my God, I know like what happened. I know that they had to cut through this much, like a layer of mass and muscle and all that stuff. It's really, really wild.
You guys do this every day? If we're lucky.